because of that, that is why we worship. I really have no further conversation.
Over everything.
Because of that, that is why we worship. I really have no further conversation, no comments to make, because this conversation has gone literally nowhere. I've been standing here for about an hour, and nothing has come out of it. So there's no point in continuing. I answered the question, and because it was very picky, there's no sense in me continuing with that. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the conversation. I thank you all for listening. Bye.
So, as you realize, there's something called conscience in your heart. Your conscience is going to rule.
Don't talk to the heckler. Don't waste your time. Who is the first and the last? We don't talk to the heckler.
Speak to him. You're a heckler. Have a debate.
You become a heckler. Who is the first and the last?
Debate in the mirror.
Mansur, the champion of the Dawah team, is running from a debate. Go and learn from Mansur.
Do you want to debate?
Yes.
Wait, slow down. You want to debate?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we will debate.
Divinity of
Wait.
Jesus.
Slow down. We will organize a debate. We'll stand on the ladder and we can debate. We will debate.
Why not now?
Do you know why now?
You were good 2 minutes ago. What's wrong with you?
Do you know why now? You've already noticed on my phone.
That's what
And it's announced 2 times because I have to go to a wedding, right?
I'm going to continue.
So, if you really want to debate, no problem to debate the people who are really inconsistent.
Just before you go, just before you go, one
slow
question.
down, I'm not going
One
yet.
question,
No,
Mansur.
slow down.
According to the Quran, there we go. There we
He's
go.
not even willing to set.
Mansur, typical Mansur, running
You're
from
not
a
even
debate.
willing to set
Typical
the
Mansur.
terms of the debate.
It's good to debate a young student.
What we want
He doesn't
is to
want
set
to debate.
the
Mansur,
contents of the debate.
Mansur,
What are we going to debate?
according
I'm not
to the
debating now.
Quran,
So now,
to the Quran,
are you willing to debate?
Can you learn from Mansur? Who is the first and the last?
Right.
According to the Quran, Mansur,
The debate
who
that
is the
we're going to
first
set.
and the last?
The debate
Mansur,
that we're going to set with
Answer
Bob
the
the
question.
tourist,
And learn some
who's no longer a tourist
Do you want-
anymore.
do you want to-
Don't be a What's your real name?
My question.
What's your name?
What's your question to
What's
you?
your
No,
name?
we don't according to the Quran.
What's your name?
Who is the first and the last?
What's your name? Put your question
Because I want to debate. Not me. You want to debate me. What's your name?
So he doesn't know the answer to the question, or he doesn't want to give the answer to the question.
Because you came
The
to debate
question
me.
that I asked you is a
Listen,
very simple one.
Bob,
The
what is
question
your
is
name
this.
so that we can set a
What
debate?
is who is the first and the
I'm
last
not
according
listening
to
to
the
any of
Quran?
that. Look, I'm not having a
Who is the
discussion with
first
you.
and the last according
Bob,
to the Quran?
Bob.
He's not going to have a discussion with me.
I just told you already.
Mansur, the man of the Dawah team, the one they
is
all
this how
go
cheap
to,
tactics you play?
doesn't
Look.
want to debate. But he was good 2 minutes ago to debate a young student.
Listen. Do
Ask your
you
question.
want to debate me?
Yes, I'm asking you a very
Wait, slow down.
simple question.
Wait,
Right now,
slow down.
I thought you had a
No.
wedding to go to.
I am. So slow down. We're going to set the contents of the debate. Contents of the debate. Now, who am I debating? What's your name?
You can call me Bob.
No. What's your name?
I don't
On
need
your
to answer
passport.
you.
On your passport.
You have a superiority complex, Mansur, that everyone
name?
needs to answer to
I'm not
you.
going to debate
and
Sam.
what you say.
No. I'm going
Remember
to debate
when
real
the
people.
Canadian
I'm not going to
pastor
debate
came
cartoon
over
characters.
and Mansur was demanding the microphone. He has a superiority complex. He thinks that
now,
everyone must
are
do
we
as
going
he
to
commands.
set a
As if
title of the
great
debate?
Mansur,
Date of the debate? So now,
the second lieutenant of Shamsi, the caliph of the corner. So, my question. My question.
so Bob, what's your name?
Just
that I'm
out of
gonna debate?
interest, do you agree with that? Just out of interest, do you agree with that?
No, do you agree with it? How she got married?
Just out of
We
interest,
want
do
to
you agree
debate.
with it?
Do you agree with it?
I want to ask
Very
you two
quickly,
things.
do you agree?
I'm not going to debate you
It's
anymore.
simple, yes or
I'm
no.
not debating you.
He doesn't want to debate. I'm sorry, he doesn't want to debate.
Bob, so here's the thing.
According to the
Excuse me.
Quran, who is the
No.
first and the last?
We are not debating now. What we're doing is organizing a debate because you want to debate me. Now, what is your name?
Mansur doesn't want to answer the question.
okay.
Let me answer the question for Mansur.
Don't talk
Because according to the
By the way,
Quran,
don't put this up.
the first and the
Don't put this up
no,
because it's just about ego. Right?
This is what the
No. But I'm saying,
This
I
is
don't
what
want this
the
to
Quran
happen.
says.
Why? You know why?
Don't.
So,
We don't want to give them any
let's have a
propaganda.
look at what the Quran says. Okay?
You don't understand.
In Surah 57,
He's trying to 1 week.
Ayah 3,
Just
Surah
how much you got
57,
paid? How much you got
Surah
paid?
57,
What's your annual salary?
in Surah
What's your source of
57,
income? What's your source of income?
I'm doing this voluntarily.
No, you are not. I can guarantee you get paid from church.
Really?
Come and I can challenge you.
Go on.
How much you get paid?
So,
You are a paid
according,
worker.
this is the
Brother, don't-
question. that Mansur,
This cartoon character is so afraid
of the Dawah
to
team,
set a debate.
did not want to answer. The Quran says in Surah 57, Ayah 3, he, referring to Allah, is the first and the last. Why? Because God comes before all, and God will be here after all, and no one can come before the first, and no one can come before the last.
I was willing to entertain this cartoon character because he doesn't reveal his real name.
Mansur has just
So I said,
argued for an hour.
We want
claim
to
be God,
settle
said
for a
this.
proper debate on the lad over there
In Revelation
on a particular
22,
topic. Is he willing to debate? He's not. He's debating himself.
I am coming quickly,
debating himself.
and my reward is with me.
Who cares,
To render to every man
Who cares, man?
according to what he has done. I am the Alpha and the Omega,
you're worshipping
the
the man.
first and the
Shame,
last,
man.
the beginning and the end. What mere prophet could say such a thing? Jesus is claiming the titles that are used in the Quran for himself.
Tell me when you start recording, right?
What is important is that the New Testament gives these titles to Jesus before they ever appear in the Quran.
Are you ready?
So Allah is using the divine titles of Jesus for himself. Why is Allah claiming to be
We have this
Jesus,
cartoon
Mansur?
character who comes along in my conversation.
Notice the Muslims don't want me. They're trying to create a
What
perimeter.
I'm asking is this.
This is how the Dawah team works. But that's okay. My voice can project, and they can't block my voice. Mansur has argued for an hour with a young student that Jesus never claimed to be God.
So now, I
And
ask him,
despite making excuses
what is your name?
that he does
that
not
I'm
have
debating
time
with?
to
Who am I
debate,
debating? What's your real
he
name?
has now stood here making a
What
statement
topic
to
that
the
you want to
camera
debate?
rather than debate me on the subject.
So here
What
you
does
go.
that say about Mansur? It says that he doesn't want to debate
If he really wants to debate, this is how it's going to be done, right? Firstly,
to go to.
this individual has to reveal his name to me, his real name, rather than calling him a cartoon character. I don't want to do that. Secondly,
he wants to make a
which
statement.
day you want to debate and what topic that you want to debate.
They're on
Then in
camera
response-
with content over everything. Who in the Quran claims to be the light of the world?
Did you hear all that? So he's going to say his name, the date of debate, and the title of the debate. Go ahead.
Mansur's superiority complex is this.
Unless he responds to any
He
of
thinks
the debate is
that
never
I
going
have to
happen.
do what he
It
says.
will never happen.
Why?
Because this
Who
man is
appointed
not
him Caliph? Shams is the Caliph of Speaker's Corner, not Mansur.
If he was not afraid,
I don't answer
if
to
he was not
lieutenants.
afraid to debate,
I only answer
he
to
would
Caliphs.
Then agree
So,
to the terms of the debate.
Mansur, according to the Quran, for the fourth time of asking, who claims to be the first and the
I'm not
last?
debating you now. Don't you understand, you cartoon character?
He doesn't
I'm
want to
saying
answer the
We're going
question.
to debate properly
Is
on
there
the ladder.
any Muslim
I will give
here
you the chance to
who
prepare
can
your debate.
answer this very
Do you not realize that?
simple question?
Brother, please.
Who in the Quran claims to be the first and the
Time
last?
to prepare his debate.
Mansur.
So, three things.
Mansur,
What is your name?
ladies
When
and
do you want to
gentlemen,
debate?
do you want to
What's the
hear
title?
Mansur answer the question?
Yes!
Yes.
So he doesn't want to.
So,
I'm sorry, I
there
have to
you
go
go.
because this man
Mansur,
is so
not for the
afraid
first
to debate
time,
properly.
is running from a debate.
Are you afraid, Bob?
Notice, this is a debate that Mansur has had many times at Speaker's Corner with many people. He does not need time to prepare. He is ready already. He can debate it right now. He's done it plenty of times before. He's choosing not to. And he's choosing not to Because
I have
he is afraid.
already that I have an appointment to go to.
Something that was so urgent, he stood here for 10 minutes giving a testimony to the
You are,
cameras.
look, you are
And
already
he's still
wasting
here
my
now.
time. You're wasting
And
my
he's
time.
still here
So why
now.
are you agreed to win? Why are
We
you scared?
could have had
Why
it.
are you scared? Scared? Why are you scared?
I want to debate you now. I want to debate you next week.
What are you scared of?
He's running away.
Why are you scared?
He's running away. Mansur, I am happy to debate you any week. Any week.
So let's settle the
So
debate
let's do that.
Now,
Why can't you answer my question, Mansur?
I cannot wait any longer.
This
5 minutes.
question is a simple one.
What is your name?
And he could answer the question in 2
And what
minutes.
topic? What's your name?
Who in the Quran claims to be the first and the last?
Wasting my time.
Why is that important?
It
Who?
is.
He's known as Bob.
Don't
I'm
bite.
not debating
He
a
doesn't.
character.
He
I'm
doesn't
debating
need
a real person.
to. He doesn't need
If you
to.
don't reveal your real name,
Notice, ladies and gentlemen, he does not want to answer the question. And now he's going to run away.
What are you scared of?
That's the champion of the Dawa team.
Why are you scared of?
Running away from a debate. So,
What are you scared of, Bob? What are you scared
this was
of,
the
Bob?
question.
What are you scared of?
This was the question.
So,
Notice they don't want it filmed.
because I wasn't entertaining any question on him. So don't just waffle.
The question I asked Mansur,
Settle for our debate.
a man who was debating a Christian sister, a young Christian sister, for over an hour, was simply, who claims to be the first and the last in the Quran? Every Muslim worth his prayer mat knows the answer to this question. The answer is Allah claims to be the first and the last.
Brother Mansur is asking
And
for
the
time,
Muslims
a place,
come
when,
round.
and the subject.
And the Muslims come round.
Are you going to give us the?
I will.
Are you going to?
I will.
Come on, then.
And
We're here for
Muslims
your
come round
preaching.
asking
Come on.
the next Sunday
No
I'm
preaching.
here.
Next Sunday.
The next Sunday
What's
I'm
the
here.
subject? What's the subject?
The divinity of Christ.
The divinity of Christ. Yeah?
There we go.
All right.
So, the Muslims make the claim. They come round all the time saying, where does Jesus claim to be God? Well, I'll ask any Muslim who can hear my voice or who's watching on YouTube. Can you, as a Muslim, claim to be the first and the last? Can you?
No. Because this guy only works in tricks. I have to go in 2 minutes.
The first and
The wedding is happening when? Today?
Mansur,
At what time?
I believe you've got a wedding.
What time?
No one's denying it.
See? So I don't want people to think I'm running away. You did not agree on a debate.
He's still here.
No, I'm going to show that you wasted enough of my time by waffling. When you could have agreed to a debate. But shame on you.
He doesn't want to have that debate. Same as he didn't want to answer the question about a 41-year-old imam marrying an 11-year-old child.
Yes.
And who's your example? Muhammad. So, Jesus says, behold, I am coming quickly. My reward is with me. Who is the one that gives out the reward on Judgment Day? Allah or Jesus? To render to every man according to what he has done. He's claiming the judgment seat of God. The judgment seat of God belongs only to Allah. But Jesus is claiming it for himself. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. Jesus is saying he is the first and the last. Allah in the Quran claims he is the first and the last. So who's the first and the last? Jesus or Allah? Don't come to the park saying Jesus does not claim divinity when Allah is stealing the divine titles of Jesus to describe himself as God. Jesus claims to be God because no one can come before the first and no one can come after the last. This is a title that only belongs to God. And this is a title Jesus claims for himself. It is a claim that Allah claims for himself. Therefore, Jesus has called himself God. Thank you very much.
That's right, yeah.
I said, I don't think when the camera goes up, it's going to go ding, 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 ding.
Any questions?
Everyone's scattered, you know. Everyone's gone.
So
Like,
just
Bob
as a
Man come back
wrap-up,
and done the dance, you know.
let's just do a wrap-up. We've had Mansur, the mighty champion of the Dawah team. The man who comes around making a great display of himself as a man who puts Christians in their place.
So cool.
And he has a superiority complex because he thinks that he can go round and demand that everyone does what he tells them to do. But as I understand it, Shamsi is the Caliph here, not Mansur. Now,
Who's he?
Mansur argued with a Christian student, a young Christian sister, about the divinity of Jesus for over an hour. And when I challenged him, suddenly he didn't want to speak. And you can get the full debate of that caption on Content Over Everything, the second best channel at Speaker's Corner, after Soko Films. Now, Content Over Everything is the second best channel at Speaker's Corner. Now, let's be clear. Christ claims divine titles. He claims to be the resurrection. He claims to be the life. He claims to be the first. He claims to be the last. He claims to be the light of the world. He claims to be Almighty. These are titles that Allah of the Quran claims for himself. So when Muslims come here saying, where does Jesus claim to be God? They really should be thinking, why does Allah claim to be Jesus? Because Jesus was using these titles before Muhammad ever ascribed them to Allah. So Jesus is claiming divinity by Muslims' own logic. And to any Muslim who's listening on YouTube and thinking I am talking rubbish, then let me ask you this question. Would you claim to be the resurrection? Would you claim to be the light of the world? Would you claim to be the first? Would you claim to be the last? And would you denounce any Muslim who did so as being blasphemous? If you would, then your conscience admits to the fact that Jesus indeed claims to be God. Amen. The Dawah team is silenced en toto. They can only make arguments against brothers and sisters who have not studied sufficiently. And this is a call to us as Christians to learn our faith well and how to defend it against those worldviews that come against it. Amen.
Content over everything. From now to
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Because that if anybody's outside of that clan system, they're going to face discrimination, right? It's not because you're Bantu, it's because you're outside of the clan system.
I'm talking specifically about anti-blackness. He's bringing it to racism and discrimination. For instance, I met Somalis that say, I hate Arabs. They hate Arabs. And I'm like, why? I just hate them.
Because they're outside of the clan.
You're not listening. You're not listening. I'm trying to understand the difference between anti-blackness based upon the concept that we are inferior because of our physiological makeup.